Is that a yes, we're live?
Yes, we are live.
Trying to get this.
Let's see. You got it over
Hey,
there? Hey.
calm down a second. Cool. We're back.
We're back in the basement. Here we go.
Man, I cannot believe that it's been a month, or close to a month, right?
Yeah, right at a month.
Yeah, because we were doing this, last time before we were coming over to iCast? Yeah. Which that was a great show, as always.
It was.
You know, so always have fun doing the iCast deal, seeing a number of our friends in the industry and also our customers. We had a lot of wholesalers and a lot of rod builders come by the booth. I know you were there a little bit.
Not this year. I was sick from that week, so
Oh
I
yeah,
missed
my
you.
bad. I think you were there. We could feel you. You were there in spirit. But you're usually
okay.
there. You're usually the guy there at iCast. But yeah, we were there. Your dad was there. We had, did some meetings, saw some people. I think your dad signed some autographs, kissed some babies. So
As always.
that was it. So what else? Anything special?
Got a big show tonight. As
Big
always.
show. Well, yeah, it's always a big show. But tonight we really get to break out some power tools. We get to do some cutting and sanding and reaming and all the fun stuff that we look forward to doing it. So speaking of that, what are we going to do? Walk us through the show.
First off, we're going to talk about a few new products we have, some cool new fly guide sets that we just come out with last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. We're just going to talk about general, of course there's various different types of grips, right? We got CFX, we've got EVA, WINN grips, cork composite grips. We're going to talk about a few tips and tricks on how to build with those grips and those materials. And then for the big demo, we're going to be talking about custom fiber grips from start to finish.
Yes, so we're going to take core and we're going to take some carbon fiber sleeve and we're going to turn it into one of these guys. So yeah, that is, I would say, it's not as hard as it may seem.
No.
But it's a little above beginner level. But we try to cross all the bridges here. From how to pick a guide out, how to spine a rod, all the way to hey, let's do a custom carbon fiber grip.
Yeah.
So the boys at CFX provide us with a lot of this stuff. They do a great job with the pre-made stuff that we get from them that I know a lot of people love. We just got the new fly handles in that actually have a cutout in them, so that fits the recess on a on a fly seat. So I know Chad and the boys are there. I think they're going to come in.
So
hopefully in the live feed.
So yeah, I'm sure they will.
Says that he's in there now. So that's really cool when we have one of the manufacturers participates on our live feed to help answer some of the more technical questions, that maybe we might not know, or maybe he wants to talk about, feel free to ask him questions. His name's Chad. He's from CFX. He should be in the live feed tonight. So we're going to walk through all that stuff, and, they got a great product. We sell them here in a number of different, sizes, applications, spinning, casting, fly,
Everything.
All of it. Plus, they're cool enough to provide a make your own. I don't know too many guys that
Right.
do that. Like, hey, we have a great product, and if you just want to make your own of that product, here's all the stuff to do it at your house. That's pretty rad.
Pretty awesome. Yep.
So cool. All right. Well, we got the stuff here ready. Everything's lined out. The boys in the back are ready. Why don't we go ahead and get the show kicked off?
Let's do it.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission.
We're back.
We're back.
Cool. I think it's, I'd love to know what show number this is. I should have looked back. I put a little sticky note to see what show number this is. I would say it's probably I don't know, what, 540?
You think so?
You know?
Yeah.
I think
Volume 12,
we're trying to
episode 3.
catch, we're trying to catch the Simpsons in how many episodes we've got. But I want to say, I mean, it's been certainly, the last time we did a CFX demo was in 2017.
October of 2017.
October 2017. So it's definitely been going longer than that. And I want to say it was that summer maybe when we started. So I think we're coming up on maybe 2 years, maybe.
I would say probably pushing a little over that, maybe.
Think? Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty cool. And of course, we couldn't do it without y'all at the house that let us into your basement from our basement, on Tuesday night. So let's start with a few tips for the reaming game. Why don't you talk to him about this tenon situation?
Yeah.
While I get my reamers and stuff together. Here's your razor.
Cool.
Yeah.
So let's first talk about WINN grips. Very popular over the past couple of years. A lot of you guys ask, how do we ream these out? Because you're unsure of what material they're actually made out of. Very simple. So all this is the WINN polymer grip material over the top of EVA itself. So you ream it out exactly as you would typical EVA. You can use our EXR reamers, you can use the new tape reamers that we come out with this year. Chuck that guy up in the drill, and it's simple as that. Now, I will say one thing you want to do with EVA is I typically leave it a little bit smaller than it should be. I don't try to over ream EVA and slide it, all the way down or way past where I'm going. I try to leave it a little bit tight because EVA is forgiving,
Right.
And it allows you to give a really good bond and glue bond to that rod blank. So that's a tip for reaming. Now, when you guys ask about tenons, some of these grips aren't specifically made for certain reel seats, and maybe you want to use one that it doesn't fit. All you have to do is simply cut that tenon off. Get a sharp razor blade. You can line it up directly at the end of the grip. Go around. You can score it first, and then slightly cut in there, and boom, your tenon's gone. Simple as that.
Yeah, and that's a good point because the WINN grip in particular, the way that particular one is tapered, it works great for a casting seat that most casting seats have a pocket inside of them.
Right.
So you'll notice if you take a look inside of that casting seat, there is a pocket for the tenon. And of course, the tenon really doesn't do anything structural, but it's kind of like an arbor, right? It helps center that grip inside of that seat if you do make a little mistake reaming, because we all like to attack it with a power drill, and you start reaming, and if you get it off a little bit, it can want to sit on the blank a little crooked.
Right.
Well, that tenon helps straighten it up, but because the WINN grips WINN grip is the same, the CFX is the same. Now these don't have a tenon, but they're very universal. So that's the thing with the WINN grip that you find that you don't with just all grips, is it comes with a tenon, but it's very universal. It can be put into a casting seat, or you can cut that tenon off and put it up to a spinning seat. And you can use it on either side, a foregrip and a rear grip, and whatever you want to do. So we get that question a lot. How do you work with that tenon? And I think, Hunter, you did a great job there. Just all you got to do is cut it off. Like, you think, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I don't know how to put this together. I ruined it, and it seems so easy. Just going to cut it off?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just cut it off.
So I want to give one tip for the CFX grips, and I'll let you maybe talk about reaming out butt caps.
Yeah.
You want to do that one?
Yep.
So for CFX grips, when you get to ream these guys out, be very, very careful and slow. The material that these carbon fiber grips are made of, the foam core, it's a very dense material, it's a light material, and you can ream it extremely, extremely fast. So take your time, go a little at a time, check, ream it once, a little bit, check where you're at, go back, ream it a little bit again. You can ream these out extremely fast, and you're going to end up with a grip that could be a little bit too large of an ID. That's not what you want.
Yeah, it is amazing at how light this core material is and how strong that grip becomes when you put it all together. I mean, it is, and you guys will see later when I throw that core material on this lathe, how quick you can chew that up. So think about that when you've got your reamer and you're going at it, you can easily over-ream the CFX as opposed to maybe a WINN grip or something like that, just based on the material. But it is incredible how strong and how light that inner core is once you've got that carbon skin on it. I think that's a great tip there, because they're not cheap. And you try not to want to booger one of those up. But even if you did over-ream it a little bit, you could arbor it out. Use some winding checks on there, put a little arbor inside, help tighten it up, and you'll be okay. You're not going to completely ruin it unless you drop it and it just slides off the bottom of the rod. But that's just those you got to be a little careful with. So, Brandon Howard, what's your thoughts on building the rod light as possible versus adding weight to make it balanced?
Great question.
Yeah, that is a great question. You want to jump first?
Absolutely. So,
Go
Brandon, I'm always a fan of having your rod as balanced as it can be, because you can take a rod that weighs an ounce and a half less, and if it's not balanced, it's actually going to feel in your hand heavier. Just because, whether it be tip heavy, that's the most common problem, is being tip heavy.
Right.
Most people that want to actually balance out their rods will actually put weight in the butt, because obviously you're holding, maybe the back 10-15% of the rod. The rest of that rod, is where the most of your weight's going to be. So I prefer a rod that's balanced any given day of the week.
Yep.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it is amazing when you can build a rod. Like, we could walk back there and pick every lightest possible component that we can, but if you have something, for example, like on a flipping stick, just because of the sheer material in the rod blank and the way that it's designed, the way that it's built, it's going to have a little bit of tip heaviness to it, no matter if you're putting, titanium, torzite, or recoil, the lightest possible stuff, it might even have a little bit of dip to it.
Yeah.
So, with the tips for grips, this is something that, Brandon asked. We had a previous question come in, and I wanted to sidebar this a little bit, because let's try to get these in here. So this is a weight that is called a finesse weight, and it's from Bass Pro Shops. And y'all make a note of this if you are wanting to add weight into the butt of a rod, because they come in from like a 1/4 ounce all the way up to like 1.5 or something. The interesting thing about these are they're called a finesse weight, which seems a little silly because they go all the way up to a 1 ounce. But if you notice, this one has an arbor on it, which is made out of tape. So this is just a cylindrical weight, and it fits up inside of the butt of a rod blank incredibly well. So what we recommend doing when we've done this is we take one of these. Is there a piece over there, I think? Maybe that white blank? It's like leaning against the wall? Yeah. So what you're going to do, see if we got enough room back here. So we've got this section here, right? We've got an arbored weight and the butt section of a rod, and we're going to slide that inside, okay? Now, I have a little too much tape on here, but what you'll do is you'll just fit it to size, arbor it up in there, and what I do is I add a little bit of pro paste first. Then I will arbor the weight, and I'll slide the weight inside, and then I'll put a little bit of pro paste behind it, and then you'll put your fighting butt on as you would normally, and that's going to help you balance this rod. Now, if you want to dry fit it, of course, I'm a big dry fit kind of guy. I love, do not, it's one of those, what do they say, measure twice and cut once. That's how you want to attack this. So if you want, I would build your rod complete out, but don't put a tip top on it, okay? So that's one thing that I know, your dad harps on all the time, and we talk about. Most of these rod blanks are not airtight until you put a tip top on them, because they're rolled on a mandrel and the tip of the rod still has a tiny little hole in it. So when you're gluing all your grips on, they're not going to want to back off the rod.
Right.
So if you're really worried about the balance point on a rod and you're going to add some weight into it, measure everything out, put the reel seat where you want it. If you don't want to use the reel as the balance point, because I'm picky. I like, my flipping rod to have an 11-inch handle. No matter where that balance point is, I'm going to correct it with weight. Mm-hmm. Whether that's always the right thing or that's always the wrong thing is a whole nother topic. But I want that rod and the handle length where I want it. So I build the rod completely out, leave the tip top off, leave the butt cap off. Then when I'm done, I dry fit the butt cap with a weight in it. Is that enough? Feel it? Because the tip top is not going to really add enough to go, oh man, I should have put more weight in the back. But the reel will, because there was an MGX by Abu Garcia that was the lightest bait caster reel ever made, and then you've got some reels that weigh 2 ounces more, so your balance point is going to change based on your reel. So I know that we went down this long rabbit hole of balance points, and I'm already answering some of these questions here as we go, so y'all pay attention. But it's one of those deals where build that rod complete out how you want it, and then I'm going to come in with these finesse weights from a 1/2 ounce to a 1 ounce and everything in between, and arbor them up, dry fit the butt on it, and then just go out in the yard and pitch it a little bit. And then if you like it, great. Glue the butt on before you put that tip top on. Because if you put that tip top on, you're going to create an airtight seal in there that when you finally push that butt cap on, it's going to want to push it off. So if you've already done that and you're just adding a new butt cap to balance your rod, that's fine. Yeah. Just poke a hole in the bottom of that butt and tape it up real tight, and it won't back itself off. But just be aware of that, because we've had people that are replacing a butt cap and they put it on there and they set it down on their bench. They go to sleep and they wake up and the butt's over there with a big glob of dried glue because there was like a vacuum and it pushed it off. So that was 6 questions at one time.
That was a lot.
Sorry I got on a tangent.
So, okay, I'll get this one. Mark, do you balance your rod with the reel on it? If not, how do you do the balancing? Yes, you balance the rod with the reel on it. You're going to be fishing with the reel on your rod, so you want to make sure it is balanced in that way. Dennis, where is the proper balance point? That's a tricky question. Typically, most people will do it in front of their foregrip or in front of the reel seat or somewhere, in there.
Yeah, if you don't have a foregrip, you got to...
Right in front of you. And if you use like a TWC winding check, which we use a lot of, typically that balance point is going to be right in front of your reel seat or your foregrip. That's where we typically do it. Really, it's just how it feels in your hand. Like, is it comfortable? Just, kind of just imagine taking the rod, put it in your hand with the reel, and just kind of relax and see, does that tip, does it tend to fall, towards the ground? Does it go up? Like just at a natural state, where does that rod tend to go? I know that sounds kind of crazy, but that's how it feels.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a great, I'm a big feel guy, whether I'm throwing a fly rod or I'm balancing a rod. I don't put a whole lot of science behind it. I want it to feel the way I want it to feel. And of course, to take that a step farther, if you're drop shotting, let's say, or you're throwing a shaky head, that spinning rod 99% of the time is going to be at like 2 o'clock, right? So maybe I want the spinning rod to have a very light feeling tip. Mm-hmm. And maybe even if the rod is already light, maybe I'll add a little bit in the butt section of the rod to help that rod want to live upright. Yeah. Whereas some guys, and they got a big heavy cranking stick, based on how it feels, if it does feel a little tip heavy, they might not do anything with it because they take it, they make a really long cast, and where does that rod go? Down like that, and then they're just cranking like this, and the rod tip practically lives in the water. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to try to fight that point, that balance point that the rod is already headed in, because I don't want it to have a light tip, because I want the tip to live down there, and then we're just going to sweep in a hook set, and we're done. So yeah, there's a lot more to just oh well, where are you supposed to balance it at? Try to take it a step farther. I mean, heck, you're building a custom fishing rod. Let's expand on it a little bit, right? Yeah. So.
Think outside the box a little bit.
Little bit.
Great questions.
A little bit. Fantastic. All right. Let's talk about reaming these butt caps.
Yeah.
This is always something that just gives everybody, including myself, fits. So some butt caps look like a foregrip with a tenon that then have a cap that goes on them. Those are easy because you just run through them just like you would ream out a rear grip, a foregrip, anything like that. The problem occurs when you have a closed-in butt cap, like these guys here. Okay, so as you can see, this is a regular butt cap, closed in. You cannot ream through this unless you want to do a little repair work, which, you know, is not always the wrong way to do it if you really want to do that. But there's a few ways to get beyond that. So, first with the WINN grips. Excuse me. The WINN grip tends to have a little bit larger inner diameter than your cork. So whether it's the MHX WINN, whether it's the WINN, they're going to have a little bit larger inner diameter to help fit over some of these blanks. Now, keep in mind, as Hunter was saying, there's forgiveness here. So this does flex a little bit. So what I actually tend to do is, with some of these, you can, when you try to dry fit it, if it doesn't just want to slide in, just easily, you can actually see if you can't walk it onto the blank, right? So if this is the blank,
You want this one?
you can kind of,
See if it works?
oh yeah, the white one. Yep, let me see that one.
Let's go this way.
Just don't want to get you. So you can actually try and walk it onto the blank like this, right? So that will actually help adjust it before you slide it on. Now, you're going to want to make sure that there's pro paste on the blank, that there's pro paste in here, and walk it on like that. If that won't do it, always dry fit it before you put a bunch of glue in here, because if you do have to ream it, you don't want the glue all on it. But just give it a test. This one just fits right on.
Easy, yep.
Okay, but if it's not, what you can actually do is, if you get caught in between reamer sizes. So this one is the large size. This one just barely fits on there, okay? So what I tend to do is, I'm trying to describe this without sounding, too redneck. But so, as my dad would say, he would kind of waller this out, all right? So what we're gonna do is, rather than just reaming it straight in and straight out, whoop, we are going to kind of waller the hole a little bit. I know, it's ridiculous. Yeah. They've been making fun of me all week. So rather than just going in straight ahead and reaming like that, I'm actually going to turn it like this. Still good there, Nick? And I'm going to rotate it around. And that's actually going to help take away a little of the sidewall from it. So that is the very technical waller out term. So yes, that is, ridiculous as that may sound, that's how you go about it. Now, that's what happens, you get caught in between, you kind of get caught in between a reamer size. So if you want to open up that a little bit there, then you jump to the next reamer size up and clean out the inside. Because remember, when I did that, I've now created somewhat of an hourglass inside. Okay, so if you can imagine, the outside's this big, the inside's now this, and the bottom is now that. So then you want to take in and either spin this grip around your reamer or go to the next reamer size up if you were in between a reamer size, and clean that out, and it'll slide right on. So
Cool.
yes, very, very technical terms. Now, we're also going to use that same technical term for cork. You just have to be more careful with cork, and I'll show you why. So if this obviously will not work, okay? that is the wrong size. And I know, sorry Jay, I know I'm moving a little fast. I'll back her down a little bit. So, is that good? Perfect. All right, so we want to make sure everybody gets the zoom right.
Yeah.
You know, Nick's working hard and he's trying to chase me around a little bit, and I'm making his life difficult. So, the thing with EVA is it's flexible and it's forgiving. Cork is not. So we're going to get caught in between sizes here again. And I'll show you why and how. Because of course we can't make 40 different sizes of reamers. So this reamer size will go in easy, no problem. But that doesn't really do you any good. So what I do is, again, I am going to waller the hole out a little. But how I do it is, I'm trying to think what would be the best way that they could see this. Can you see like this here, Nick? That okay? Good? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make rotations around, and I'm going to chip away a little at a time. And I'm going to do this a lot more than it should be, just so you guys can see what happens. Okay, so see, that's obviously tore up, okay? But you can see that is kind of the idea in a very exaggerated manner, right? So what you're going to do is, and I'm going to put another one here, so don't worry. Hang on, Nick. So now we're back to here. So I'm going to slowly take a little off, dump some out, and we'll rotate the grip around. Take a little off, rotate it. Oop, I went the wrong way. Hang on. Sorry. So that is how you slowly open up the cork there. And of course, you're always, you know, dumping a little out. So you can see how much material I'm taking out. But remember, I'm just taking it out at the opening. Mm-hmm. So from there, it's going to be the same. You're going to open up that hole little by little until you can get the next size reamer in there, and then we're good. Now, that is only one way to do it. Another way to do it is to make marks on it and use a Dremel tool. But if you don't have a Dremel tool, I wanted to make sure I show you guys how I did it with the reamer. So from there, like I said, you just go to the next size up, which that's medium, that's a large. You know, just go to the next size up, and then you can actually clean out the inside. Or what you would do is you would hold it kind of off center and then let this spin while you kind of walk this around. And that will help take that, what we created, an hourglass inside, with the outside being like this, the inside being like that, because when you turn this, you're going to ream here in the bottom and you're going to ream here on the outside, but you're going to be walking it around, and you're going to leave some in the middle there. It's going to turn into an hourglass. So, but once you do that, you can kind of work the inside a little bit with the reamer, and it'll help clear that out, and you're not going to be, you know, you're not going to be ruining the outside that, you know, you're going to see.
Right.
So.
Cool.
Hopefully those helped.
So what do you say? Let's do maybe a few questions and we'll do a giveaway real quick?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. All right, Rick Payne, what material is best for a fly rod, cork, EVA, or a carbon fiber handle? Rick, that is a personal preference. That is up to you. Obviously, traditional cork is the way to go, but a lot of people have been starting to use the carbon fiber and EVA grips. I will say that they are a little bit more slick, would you say?
Carbon fiber?
Either one, EVA, carbon fiber?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
For a fly rod?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would say that, you know, the EVA is a little slick, more or less, because it gets stuff on it. And, you know, the carbon fiber is, you know, maybe a little slick just based on the fact that it's, you know, it's a harder material, and, you know, probably is not as quite forgiving in cold weather. You know, it might not do it for me personally, but it's certainly not it's not going to ever chip. It's not going to ever get damaged. It's not going to get nasty like cork does. But yeah, it might be a little slick. But to be honest with you, I think it's all just based on the kind of feel that you like. I mean,
Exactly.
I'm a cork guy on the fly rod because I like it to be traditional looking and traditional feeling. But all my bass rods have a WINN grip on it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's, for me, the best for that. So yeah, it's going to be based on, that's a little too opinion-y for me. But yeah, you just got to kind of got to give it a feel.
Yeah.
So
each material has a pro and a con, I guess you could say. And the cons aren't even really that bad, but it still comes down to one's not going to be the best or the worst. That's up to you to decide which one is better for you. Yeah,
I mean, just because that, let's say that the WINN on the pro side it has a tacky feel for wet weather, but let's say that EVA, the con is it doesn't have as good of grip in wet weather or whatever. It's not necessarily, something that's like, well, everybody just quit using EVA because it has no wet feel. It's not like that. Each grip has its own place. Really, at all times, it kind of just depends, when some of that personal preference comes into play. So.
All right. Oh, Rick has 2 questions.
How about the hook keeper? I like that one. That one I'm always particular on.
How close should a hook keeper be to the handle? And I know you got a very scientific measurement that you use for this, I do believe, right?
That's it. So this one right here, that far. That's how far. This is a casting rod, MHX WINN grips, drop shot style hook keeper. That's how far it needs to be.
And he's talking about his thumb.
Period. The end. Thumb width above either the foregrip or a thumb width above the reel seat if there is no foregrip or wherever that taper. I like to use the cone, the TWC cone. So if that cone was there and there was no foregrip here, that hook keeper would be this direction because then that would be a thumb width. So long and hard, man. Me and Einstein, boy, we did a lot of science on that. Lots of thinking. Lots of thinking. Long and hard thinking on that one.
That's a good one.
I know.
Let's see. Oh, and what's the best way to ream out longer handles? Probably go with like the reverse pilot bits.
Yeah, where was that? Didn't we have a pilot bit?
Is that it right? No, it's a mandrel.
I thought I had pulled one. Oh. If somebody could get us a reverse pilot bit, that would be fantastic. There where the mandrels are, I believe.
Somewhere over there.
Mandrels, sandpaper.
We'll move on and we'll get back
we'll come back to that.
Jose, when making a rod with fighting butt, what is the best way to balance the rod and distance from the butt to reel seat? So, okay, I think I saw similar questions that was asked today or maybe in one of the posts about the show. So, when it comes to determining the distance from, we'll say, where'd that rod go? You just had.
That's all right.
From the end of your butt cap, right there, end of your butt cap to the back of your reel seat. That's going to come down to, once again, personal preference. If you want to measure one of your existing rods that you like, figure out that distance, and then you can mimic it on the rods in the future. Just make sure that they're similar lengths. Don't use, personally, I wouldn't use the same length for a 7-foot rod and a 7/6 rod. 7/6 rod, you want to increase that distance a little bit because you have a longer rod to work with. Typically, you're probably making longer casts. But that's the general rule of thumb. If you have some rods, that's what we kind of point everybody to. That's the best way to get your measurement. Now, you can always kind of sort of eyeball it, I guess you could say. You can line this up. Typically, I like it to go a little bit above the end of my elbow, maybe an inch, inch and a half, depending on the rod. This is probably what, a 7-foot, this is 7.2. So that's comfortable for me. If we're doing a 6/6 rod, I'm going to want a lot shorter handle.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to want to maybe be around, we'll say what, 9 3/4, 10 inches.
Yep.
This one's probably around, I would say 10 and a half, 10 and a quarter. Once you start building rods over and over and over and figure out, for a 7-foot rod, this is the length that I like, it's going to come natural to you and you're going to get it down. You might have a little trial and error where you figure out that, wow, that last rod I built, the handle was way too long.
Yep.
So for this one, I'm going to shorten it up a little bit.
Yeah, without a doubt.
That's why we say, pick a rod that you like, take that length. As long as it's similar in overall length of the blank or the rod itself, you're good to go. Use that same handle length.
Yes.
And then as far as, what was the second part of that question? Oh, I lost it there. Oh well, I think I got most of it there.
I think you got most of it. Cool. Yeah. Now, the cool thing is, speaking of all, you know, what are we doing WINN grips? What are we doing cork grips? All that stuff. Maybe you guys don't really, yeah, that's that bad boy there. Cool. All right, so for the long grips, this is going to be the reverse pilot grip. Reverse pilot grip, yes. Reverse pilot bit. So if you notice, we've got a typical spade bit here, just as you would use in any woodworking stuff. Now, the difference is, as I rotate this, you will notice that there's edges here cut, right? Those are actually a blade surface that is actually going to cut going this direction and not just that direction as you normally would. So how you would ream this is you would take, let's say this, we'll just call it a full, 9-inch grip, right? You would drop this in, and of course it would stop there. Then, good. You would drop that in, so there's the bit. You would pull it down this way, okay? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck this into the drill once the grip is on here. Just like this, okay? Then what you're going to do is pull it through like this. And you can see it wanting to cut there like that. Just like that. And so in a sense, you're going to pull this bit and create, this is a 3/8. So if, let's say this was, a 1/4 inch inner diameter, you would now be able to pull this bit through the full length of the grip and turn the inner diameter now into a 3/8 hole. Just pull it all the way through, all the way out. Then what you would do is you would come back in with the reamers, touch it up, and you're good to go. So those, I don't think those ever get enough love. Those are bad to the bone.
Awesome.
So, you want to give something away?
Let's do that. So, speaking of giveaway, we're going to be giving away a new fly guide kit.
Yep.
So these are brand new to the website. We just come out with recently.
Yep.
We revamped our entire section of fly guide kits.
Yes.
I know you're a big part of that. It is much more simplified. You guys can go in, you can pick whether you want single foot, double foot snake guides, titanium, so many different options. They're in simple categories now. You go in, you pick your line weight, your length,
Yep.
chrome, black.
And they're going to look a lot, for everyone that is used to using what we would call a multi-option menu, it's going to be exactly like that.
Yep.
So you'll go into the category and you'll pick, I want a snake guide setup. So you'll have snake wire double footers, then you'll have some stripping guides in there, and what you'll do, like you said, is you'll go, okay, well, what weight of rod do you have? Well, I got a 5-weight. Click 5-weight. Boop. What color do you want? I want black titanium. Boop. Pick that.
Yep.
And we got it all ready to go. That's how you'll go through it. I think we took 50 sets that were all kind of mix and match and kind of all over the place, and we turned it all the way down into just a couple categories that you can go in if you want those new snake brand guides. Really nice, made in the USA, the eco-coated. You can go in and say, okay, I've got a 9-weight and I want them in polished finish and perfect.
Yeah.
So they're going to pretty much be a multi-option deal. So we're going to give a fly guide kit away to Joseph Bovey. Joseph, congratulations. A little 3rd place action, a little fly guide kit. Slide in our DMs there. That'll get you, we'll kind of direct you into that area to get you to pick it. So that's awesome.
Cool.
Those are really nice. So you can go through and pick color, rod weight, all that stuff, and we'll get it going. Now, before we move on to the next set of putting this thing together, we put together a lot of handle kits, right? So we went through, and if you look, we've got got saltwater handle kits with the new CRB vented seats. We've got, hold that for me.
Yeah.
We've got, handle kits for your spinning rods, full cork. So that's something that we have gone through, and just like we did with the fly kits, just like we did with the multi-option kits, all we pretty much did was, go through, we took, customer suggestions, we took what we liked, and made all that happen, right? So, and recently we got, we were lucky enough to run down to Stuart, Florida, which I know that some of our customers are from.
Yeah.
We were down there and we got to take all of we had some pre-made, not pre-made rods, but we had Victor Joseph come in. We walked through what we wanted, and we took handle kits, we took CRB guide sets, we took our MHX blanks and our CRB blanks, and had, rods built for very specific tasks. We fished offshore down there. We did a Lake Ida trip, and that was kind of the highlight, where we were able to take MHX, CRB blanks, have handle kits put on them, and we went through and caught peacock bass. We caught the clown knife fish. We caught largemouth. So pretty much it kind of turned into a Lake Ida slam, really.
Yeah.
So that was a neat deal that we were able to take and, pick a handle kit, pick a guide set, pick a blank, and now we're moving forward. And that's pretty much the direction we're going for all of our kits. That we're going to try to make it as easy as we can, and that was just another example with the fly guide kits and with all of these handle kits that we've been doing, that allows y'all to go, okay, I want full cork, spinning, I want that blank, I want that guide set, and in probably a week to a little bit less than a week, depending on where you live, you got it at the house, and you're ready to rock. So pretty much where we're at.
Awesome.
On that.
Just trying to simplify things.
Just trying to simplify. We want to allow everybody to be as creative as they can and literally pick everything. And then there's some people that, need a little help. Maybe they're new, or maybe they don't need the help, but they like the simplicity of going, yeah, I know that works. I know that they put a lot of thought and stuff into it, so I'll take that.
And it's a better value too. Most people, that's one key point, and maybe we shouldn't say, but
Yeah.
we actually discount most of the kits that we sell.
Yeah, when you buy a kit, it's not only easy, but you do save.
Yeah.
If you were to go through and pick, like that rod back there, if you were to pick the butt cap with that grip, and you went through and you itemized everything out, or if you just bought the multi-option kit, the L904, for your near shore, catch a big barracuda on, as you saw in the clip, you get it all, and you get a little break on the price.
There you go.
So, cool.
All right, let's do one or two questions, and then let's dive into this demo.
Yeah.
Okay, Richard, what part of the blank do you put the hook keeper on a spinning rod? Is it the same as a casting rod? Personally, I like to do it in the same spot on the rod, except on the underside. So it'd be the same side as your reel, right? What about you? What do you like?
I don't do that. No. I put it on the exact same place on the top side of the rod, so it will be opposite of the reel, but it's always facing up. I think it's one of those, for me, it doesn't feel like it's broke, so I'm not going to fix it.
Yeah.
So that's, but some people, some people put it down in the split grip section.
Yeah.
You put it on the underside. There's a couple places that I would say are wrong, but none of those that we mentioned are wrong. If you start running it up the blank, getting too close to that first guide, yeah, you're going to get some tangles because of the way that line comes off for reel. But, outside of that, we're good to go. So, cool.
How do you guys ream winding check? Joshua asked, how do you guys ream winding checks?
I mean, yeah, you don't really have to. We got so many sizes.
What I would suggest is, if you're doing, obviously you should never ever try to ream aluminum winding checks. Don't do that, period. If you're doing rubber or vinyl winding checks, either, they cost less than $1.
Yeah, and they stretch. I mean, you can
they
really
stretch a lot. So either buy like 5 of each size. You should never have to ream them out. That's a chore and just not necessary.
Yep, don't worry about that. Just get you another one. Cool. All right, let's dive into this, because I know this one's going to be something else. So, all right, Custom CFX grips. Now, the cool thing is, the boys at CFX and us, sorry for the grammar. I know Guffey in the back's probably just dying with that one. All right, so we got a kit, right? In that kit, you get a core section. So that was in that kit, I pulled that out. You're gonna get your, this is 3K twill. So it's your carbon fiber sleeve, and it's 1 1/4. What is that? Inner, outer? I mean, it's
Outer.
yeah. It's so thin it can really be inner or outer, but yeah. So it's 1 1/4 sleeve. That's the 3K twill, and then you've got your epoxy set, which is going to be your pretty much your resin and your hardener, and then you've also got your syringes that match each one of those bottles. Now, the cool thing about Chad and the boys is they have already put caps inside there. So those are pretty much the BCSIs that we use in our finish that allow you to put the syringe in there and not have the stuff go everywhere. Now, one key thing about this, and please, we cannot stress this enough. If you notice, this is the resin bottle. This is the hardener bottle, okay? For those that have never done this and don't have, for those that have never done this and don't have any, experience working with this kind of stuff, it's not like rod finish that is a 50-50. And you can see that plain here by the resin and the hardener bottles. It's a 5-to-1, and they do a very good job of putting that on the bottle. Mix ratio 5-to-1, mix ratio 1-to-5 on each one of these bottles. So, and of course, in the syringes that they give you, they're also, very different. And one's a 6 ml, one's a 3 ml, I believe. And so just be careful. Don't mix these 50-50 because you'll be mixing it wrong. So, and then outside of that, in the kit, we also get sleeve clamps. And what that's going to do is, just like this, when you put your sleeve over the core, you have to have a way to tighten that down, and it kind of pinches it off and holds it so it can cure. And that's where these guys come in. These are really, really cool. They did a great job with this kit. So, what is this kit? How much?
30, 36, 38 bucks.
Is it? Sure?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Wait.
Is it 70?
Double check.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like it was like 70 something. No? Maybe not.
I don't think so. I think that's the steel mandrel kit you're thinking of.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I'm thinking about that.
Regardless,
I don't know why I should question you.
Regardless, the guys will drop a link in the chat.
They've got to check.
To double check.
All right. So let's get down to business here real quick. So, always mandrel wax. Make sure you prep this thing, okay? Make sure you prep this thing. Yeah, it looks like $39.95. You were right. Again, you should know.
All right, so all day.
That's what you do all day. We got a 3/8 mandrel, okay? The inner diameter of this core is 3/8. Always prep your mandrel. You're going to put a little bit of wax on here. All that does is keep it so that you can actually get this thing off when you fix it and you're done. So we have the trusty RBS Pro with us here tonight. I am going to slide this core on to this mandrel. Now, if you notice, this spins kind of easy. What I like to do is I'll slide this down a little. I'll put a little bit of masking tape on here, and it will kind of give us a little grip, if you will. So what we're going to end up having to do is I take 3-4 turns of some masking tape, snug it down there, and that's going to give us a pretty good fit so that we can turn this thing on the RBS Pro. All right, so we got it chucked in, put the band here, and of course we are going to, safety first, kids, when we're doing the This stuff is like dust, and it gets everywhere. So, you know, make sure to wear some kind of breathing deal. And, you know, whether you're wearing, you know, kind of an inexpensive one or you got the Big Daddy. And then also, I like to wear some glasses when I do any of this stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how easy this is to cut with sandpaper, how easy it is to shape. You're probably not going to be able to hear me on the underside of this mask, but that's kind of what I'm going to do here. I'm going to show you a quick little shape, and then we'll go from there. Cool?
Cool. I'll be over here out of...
It's like a Darth Vader thing now. Should I breathe heavy? All right. I am your Reamer. Fogs my glasses up if I'm not careful. All right, here we go. So we're going to cut it. So as you can see, that was pretty easy.
It was.
So that was pretty much 2 minutes at the most of getting that reamed out. So really from here, all we're going to do is we'll touch it up a little bit and I'll turn it over to Hunter to, you know, we'll got to put some finish on it. It's kind of a little modified snub nose full well there.
All right. So we're going to go from the RBS Pro over to our RDS rod dryer.
I'm going to slide this down just a little bit for you.
Cool.
Stuff gets everywhere. This is what that falls under the category is don't put it on your mom's dining room table.
Yeah.
I think that's the usual that denotes when it gets crazy and when it doesn't.
Cool. So now we've got this set up. I got my RDS. I've got an extra stand here.
Yep.
Duct tape for safety as always.
Perfect.
Keep everything stable.
Is that going to be enough cloth on there?
Yeah, what do you think? It'll be close.
It's going to be real close. Yeah.
You want to do another just in case?
Yeah, we'll do
So
another.
that's another good tip right there.
Hey, Guff, can I get those titanium scissors off of Bob's desk, please?
We'll get to that in a second, but essentially, when you go to use your cloth piece, which comes in, I think it's what, a 2-foot section?
Oh, those, yep.
You want to make sure you have plenty of extra. What would you say, at least 2-3 inches on each side?
Yeah, I like to keep about 3 or 4. What is really going to determine that is kind of the outer diameter of this. If if it's a diameter that is really, really tiny and it slopes down to the mandrel, you don't have to worry about that nearly as much. Whereas if you've got a really, like that snub nose right there, it's going to have to come off it and then down, and you're going to have to crimp it down. That's where you're going to need, more of it.
Yep.
So just don't cut yourself short there.
All right, so all I'm doing is I'm taking our epoxy. I did 5 cc's of the, what do you have here? Which one is this? This is the resin.
Yeah, hardeners in the little one.
And then I'm gonna do only 1 cc of the hardener. Turn it around here.
I thought I had those little BCSIs up here. I guess not.
You do, they're over there.
Oh.
As Chris mentioned earlier, and he'll show you guys now, the BCSIs.
Those are those caps that go inside.
Self-sealing caps.
Yep.
They come standard into these 2 bottles of epoxy.
Yep.
And they also come with the syringes, so you guys don't have to worry about buying sealing caps or syringes for the set. It comes.
But that's what's inside of it. So if you don't have these for your finished bottles, you know, your Pro Coat, Threadmaster, whatever, you really need to get those because they make a big difference.
So real quick, I'm gonna give this a stir. And what you will notice with this epoxy, it is much thinner than the, you know, your Pro Coat or any other, you know, medium or light build finish out there. It's a very, very thin epoxy. But what that allows you to do is when you go to actually put this on the foam core and then you put your carbon fiber over top, it doesn't allow you, there's really no resin or epoxy that shows through that material.
No. And you know, we have played with this a number of times, and my thought process on putting the epoxy on the core is you really want it coated to the point of it looks like you're putting rod finish over the core. You know, you don't just barely want it on there. You want it to look like it's got a gloss finish of epoxy over the top of it, just like you would put finish over, you know, your guides or your, you know, thread wraps, things like that.
I can put this
There's
on?
a paper towel over there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Just hold that right.
Yeah, I got you. So yeah, I mean that's really how you want to put that on. Don't kind of skimp on it. You know, make sure you use it because remember, all of that epoxy then has to transfer not only between the core, but it's then also going to come, you know, and soak into the sleeve. So, you know, that's going to be where we're at. Good tip from the boys at CFX. Thank you for that. They said they heat the epoxy a little to make it easier to work with. This also allows it to soak through the carbon sleeve better. I'll also show you a little trick that we do to touch on that as well, depending on what kind of finish you want your CFX to have, because you can, based on, as you get better with this, you can adjust the exterior finish that it comes with based on how much epoxy that you put on there and how much comes through that carbon fiber sleeve. And as the guys at CFX said, if you heat it a little bit, you know, especially if you're working in an environment up north and in places like that, I would definitely add a little heat to it. Yeah, you're definitely going to have to add to that. I usually, you know, I'll section it off, do this one, do the middle section, do that, and then go through and level it out.
Because this foam core doesn't soak up too much epoxy.
No, it really doesn't. It's almost like you're just putting it enough to fill the voids in the outside of it. It doesn't like draw it in. So.
You got any questions you want to hit?
How do you clean the grips on the outside carbon fiber or WINN grips? Honestly, with the carbon fiber or the WINN grips, I'll tend to use, you know, just a mild detergent soap. I don't go crazy with, definitely don't use acetone or any kind of stuff like that. Just use a really light detergent, something that you would either clean the boat with or clean your dishes with, something like that. Don't go crazy with that stuff, especially on the WINN grips. That polymer, it's not that it's delicate, but if you did take, acetone or something really heavy to it, you'll pull the color off of that polymer. So definitely don't want to do that. Let's see. Ken, do you put it on the ends, carbon grip? Yes, you definitely want to make sure that the ends of this carbon are coated well, because that's what's going to create the bond when it overlaps the edges. If not, it would just fray out like this on the end, and that's not going to do anything for you. So definitely make sure you put plenty, and that's why Hunter, you can see he's got a few drips on the paper towel there that he's got down, because he's putting it on there. Don't just take it and dump it on, but take it and put a really good amount on there. Make sure it's got a nice gloss to it. We didn't give away a handle kit, did we?
We didn't.
No. Let's do a handle kit. How about that? We're going to do a handle kit. So that is going to be like one of those multi-option kits. I don't know if we're giving away. I think that excludes a saltwater handle kit. But anything like a MHX, WINN, cork, any of that stuff, we're going to give away 2 of those. First person is going to be Felicia Powell. Congratulations on that. That's going to be a handle kit coming your way. And then we've also got the Boggs family. We've got Whitney and Dave Boggs got a handle kit coming your way. So you guys get to fight over who gets to use that. And I have a feeling who's going to win. So Felicia Powell and Whitney and Dave Boggs, congratulations. We've got handle kits going to be headed y'all's way. Slide into our DMs there and tell us which ones you want.
Cool.
So that's awesome.
All right,
you about done?
I think I'm done.
All right.
I'll use all my epoxy here.
Perfect. So, as always, safety first. I don't like to handle this finish or this epoxy without gloves. So, it just helps keep everything a little bit cleaner and neater. What do you think?
Let's do it.
About ready?
All right, let me put this down. So, we got our sleeve ready to go.
I didn't cut it. But
Didn't cut it? All right. So, let's use this piece, huh?
Yeah.
So,
probably back her out. Yeah, that's good.
About there?
Maybe to that
Right
too.
there?
Yeah, that's probably good.
so what we got about, I'd say 2.5, 3 inches on each side?
Yeah, it's probably good.
Yeah, we were almost there.
Dana's asking, can you make a palm swell spinning seat and a hidden thread reel seat? Yeah.
Yes.
I don't. Yeah. Palm
You should be
swell
able to
spinning
take
seat. Yeah.
our CRB seat and use either you can use a Fuji style hidden thread seat or hood, hidden thread hood.
Wow.
There we go.
Yeah. Here we go.
I would, just to be sure, since we are using 2 different brands, sometimes the threading can be a little different.
Yep.
I would definitely call or email tomorrow, or even send us a message, whatever you want to do. Have one of our reps go check that for you and be sure. I think it would work by far, but just in case, it's always good to have one of the guys check here before you actually purchase it.
Yep.
So, but we can do it for you.
Cool. All right, so what I'm doing here is these little clamps, they come pretty tight, okay? So these guys, they come pretty tight, and so the deal with this is you're actually going to take this clamp is going to go around the sleeve material like this, and it's going to clamp down tight, and that's what is going to form the ends of the grip. So when this goes to go around that, these little teeth and little catches like to grab that carbon fiber. It likes to grab all those little tiny fibers. So what I have learned to do, and these things are pretty strong, is I will take them and I'll flex them out as good as I can to get them almost straight so that when I come in to go around the mandrel and around that carbon fiber material, I catch the least amount of fibers that I can.
Cool.
So, awesome. All right, so ready to do this?
Yep. So with our carbon fiber material, you will see that it will expand, you know, so we go out this way, right? And you can also, if you do that all the way down, it's almost like a finger trap,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So we can pull the sides out. It's going to actually contract down, and that's going to allow us to open it up.
Perfect.
You might want to do that a little bit more.
Yep.
Go ahead.
All right. I'll pull that bad boy off there and I'll put her on.
Okay, you want it up like this?
Yeah, sure, why not?
It's going to drip, so all right. So we open that up and kind of scrunch it down. It allows us to take that and actually, you know, it makes the outside diameter larger so we can slide it over that grip.
Then we're going to work it back down like this. And this is why we use the gloves, so that we can really, really get it sealed back down. Then on the ends here, we're going to make sure we kind of pucker it back down. And then I actually like to give it a slight twist. Just what I've found helps me get it around this end better without catching my finger in it. So you can see there, got it down nice and tight, got it folded over the edge. You can see that epoxy starting to kind of come through, okay? And then now I've got my band that's kind of wide. Not going to catch any fibers. There you got it.
Boom.
Okay? So that's one side. Nice, clean, good sharp edge. Flip her over. See if I can't do it. Do it again on this side. I'll fold her down. Start to make sure we catch plenty of this epoxy on here. Hey now. All right, about had enough of that. All right, this other one. Cool. Good, and we're tight there. You wanna make me a little...
So let's see, we're going right.
Yeah, gotta open that up.
There.
Yep, go. Okay,
Like that.
get that guy, get this guy. Cool,
Whoop.
you're
There
good.
we go.
All right, so there we have it. A kind of a modified snub nose fly grip. So there it is. Boom. Just put her back in there. Not that you really have to, but we'll just do it for the sake of seeing it. And I'm gonna get these gloves off and I'll cooking show fast forward.
So after this is done, we let it sit. I would give it, what, at least a day, 24 hours?
Yeah, we did it overnight. It seemed to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll cure up and you get one finished.
Yeah, so here's a couple, this is kind of what it looks like, right? So here's what it looks like without cutting the ends off, okay? You know, it's got really nice texture to it, got a nice shape. That's gonna be something that's gonna be pretty grippy, right? So that is exactly how we did it there. and let it dry. Nice grip, really hard, and super, super lightweight. Okay? So there's that option. Now, let me show you this option. So, what we've done here is, this is heat shrink tubing, okay? Same heat shrink tubing that we sell here. You can see the difference from this one here has no heat shrink on it. This one here has heat shrink and a little more epoxy underneath it. And the heat shrink really compressed this grip to make sure that you get a maximum flow of epoxy. Now, just like the boys were saying, when you heat this up a little bit, it thins it and it'll make it flow a little better. Plus the compression of this heat shrink tubing gives it this smoother, kind of a more sheen finish. Doesn't have quite the texture that this one's got, but that's just another option. Plus, then when you just score that heat shrink, this will actually just pull off. It doesn't come off easy, but you can see it comes off. So that's how that ends up coming off, right? Mm-hmm. So there you have it. That is that. Cool. Now, you got to cut these ends off, okay? So to cut those ends off, actually, I will show them with this one here. All right, so we're going to put this back in here. You will see there is a little residue from this. I left it on really longer than it should have been, but that cleans off because it's just kind of the inside of this. It's kind of that kind of dusty, kind of powdery kind of thing. All right, so what you can do is you can take a razor knife. This side has the clamp already pulled off of it. This side, the clamp is still on it, so you just kind of, the clamp's like this, and if you just torque it and pull it apart, you know, it'll just come right apart. Let me go back, put my goggles on. See which way we're spinning here. It's going to come at me. So I'm actually going to use this razor knife, and I'm going to lay it here on the edge. Pulls that clean edge right off, so there's your carbon fiber tassel.
Tassel.
On that side, we're going to do this side. And that side. And if one piece didn't quite cut, you can kind of just lean on it a little bit. It's a really good way to dull a razor blade is rubbing it against a metal mandrel like that, but there you have it. So that's how you cut it off, so there you go. You're ready to rock.
Done.
Then from there, like I said, just clean it up a little bit and that's why you wax your mandrel. There you go. Pull it right off, she'll release out, and ready to rock.
Good to go.
Go right to a fly rod. Just
pretty cool.
Go on one of mine.
Levi, do the CFX grips need to be rotating while curing? Nope.
I don't think so. I mean, I do, but just because I've got it and all that, it's not that there's so much finish on it that it's going to drip out. So no, I don't really think so. Hopefully, you know, that's right. But
could it be it, Chad? Correct us if we're wrong.
yeah, Chad. If you're like, no, it needs to be. But I haven't noticed there being a problem if we don't have it rotating.
Yeah. Jared, is the ID of components equal the outside diameter of the rod blanks at the desired location on the rod?
Is that a question? Is the ID of components equal?
Okay, so I think he's asking, does the ID of your, say, grips need to match the outside diameter of your rod blanks wherever it needs to fit on the rod?
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, obviously it does. Now, like we mentioned earlier, EVA, you do not have to actually ream it all the way down to fit exactly where it needs to go. You can use mineral spirits to help. If you want to ream it most of the way, you can actually put mineral spirits inside of that grip, close off both ends real quick, shake it up, and then that grip will slide as far as you want it to. Cork, I would say cork, probably CFX material. You want to ream those to about the exact spot that they want to go or they need to go.
Yep.
Just because those materials aren't as forgiving, especially cork, you can easily bust it or cause problems. EVA WINN grips, you got some room to work with. The other ones, you just got to be careful and make sure they fit exactly where they need to go.
Yeah. Cool. So we probably should give one of these away.
Yeah. So grand prize winner tonight is going to get one of the grip making kits, and
yeah. So the grip making kit has got 4 mandrel sizes.
Yep.
It's got some mandrel wax in it. Sandpaper. It's got some sanding screen in it. And I think that's it. Now, you're only going to need the 3/8 mandrel for the CFX kit, but we figured we're not just going to give you one mandrel. Figure we give you the steel mandrel wax. We'll give you all 4 mandrels. We'll give you the sandpaper. Because if you're going to do a custom carbon fiber grip, you might as well do cork and EVA and all that other stuff that we've got that you can turn and create fighting butts and foregrips and all that other stuff. So we figured we give you the whole grip making kit. So that's the mandrels and the wax and all that stuff. And then of course, you're also going to get the CFX kit that we showed you here. I'm going to give you one that doesn't have dust on it. Brand spanking new one out of the back. And so you'll get that. Maybe we'll also throw in some of these pieces here.
yeah, might as well.
To let you practice with it.
Put them to use.
Yeah, we've got some of these pieces we've already used, so I'll go through and put it all in there. Who are we going to do that to?
The big winner, Stan Eckert.
Perfect.
Eckert.
Big Stan. Coming to you live from the basement.
Grand prize winner. That's
fantastic.
a big prize too. You get a lot of stuff.
Hope you got enough money in your account to cover that one, Hunter.
Yeah, we'll take care of it.
Cool. All right, well, I think we're running into Hot Pocket time.
Yep. So, little recap. 3rd place winner, Fly Guide set, was Joseph Bovey.
Yep.
Runner up, we have two handle kits to give away. Those winners were Felicia and what is that?
Whitney and Dave
Boggs.
Yep.
And grand prize winner was Stan Eckert.
That is Whitney, right? Because you shrunk it.
Whitley or Whitney?
Is there an L in there?
Whitley.
Oh, it's Whitley. Oh. See, when it's not 82 font, I can't quite see it. I'm sorry because I said Whitney earlier, didn't I?
I think you did.
Yeah. So my bad. There it is.
Whitley.
What'd you go to, 96 font? Fantastic. Yeah, I guess I don't read everything that's on the teleprompter then, huh? So, cool. All right. Now, kind of a little announcement for those that stuck around. The 4-spool thread carriage is back in stock. So that's cool. So we got both of them, the one that's on the sliding track and the one that mounts to the HWS1. Both of those 4-spool thread carriages are in stock. Thank you.
Yeah, well, there was a high demand for those. We were out of stock for a while. I apologize to those people, but
well, they're bad to the bone.
They're back now.
I love it. Y'all saw us use that on what? The Tiger wrap demo and some other stuff. The 4-spool deal is very nice. And then, of course, as always, we sprinkle into the clearance section some new blanks and some new materials every now and then. We just updated that clearance section. You will probably, I believe, see an email in your inbox tomorrow talking about that clearance section now having new items, but because you're fantastic and loyal followers of Mudhole Live, you get to hear it here first.
And there's a lot of stuff
Yeah,
in there.
there's a lot of stuff in there, so go ahead and buy it up before the people that just get the email out. Do I have stuff on my face?
Yep.
Fantastic. Well, that just,
Oh,
that's
it's on the
real.
other side.
That's
I didn't
real,
see it.
right? Cool. You know, thanks for telling me at the very end of the show. Appreciate it. That's true,
You're
true
good.
boys right there for you. So, cool. I think that's it. Thank you for everyone for putting in the questions. I know, Eric, you asked a question about putting a coin in a cork butt grip. We've got some photos there. I'll maybe walk a little video through that one. That was a cool little deal. We've got some photos. We'll put it up. Be sure to stick around since you're already here. You know, watch it because we'll have we'll jump in there and put a little photo for you. And yeah, so that's probably it, right?
That gets it.
Probably going to come to you live the first Tuesday in September, possibly, because the first Monday is usually a holiday,
Very true.
and a very important one at that. So it might be the second Tuesday in September. We're not sure yet. We'll make sure to keep you guys abreast of that situation as the information becomes available.
Yep.
Huge, major props to Chad at CFX.
Yes. So definitely thank you for being in the chat. I know you answered a bunch of questions for us. We appreciate that. You know, they also provided us with some of these kits to give away tonight and to use on the show, which we have made good use of.
Yeah, huge help. We definitely made a big mess with the kits that they put in here. So that is fantastic. I know everybody at home appreciates that, and we of course appreciate all of our excellent manufacturers that help support us.
Absolutely.
So that's awesome.
And last but not least, make sure you guys check out our Rod Builders Workshop group.
Yeah.
I got it right the first time I said it. So it's Facebook Lives. No. Mudhole Lives, Rod Builders Workshop. Okay.
There he is.
A little
Hey.
stumble, but I got it.
Hey, it's cool. It's cool. It's all good. That's a good page. You know, pre-show, little post-show, some good stuff in there. Everybody's very cool, easygoing, puts up great photos the whole time.
Well done.
So-
It's grown quickly, so check that out.
Yep, we appreciate it. Congratulations again to all the winners. We will see y'all in September. As always, Hunter McCamey. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly.
You got it.
Yeah. And Chris Adams. You guys have a great rest of the week, and we'll see y'all next time.
See you next time.
Have a good one.
Thanks.